Now, usually when I talk about belief systems, I talk about how when you transform your mind for the better, when you start to feed your mind upon ideas that are empowering and uplifting, you can actually transform your life from the inside out, right? When you start to feed yourself a different narrative about yourself, change your self concept, the way in which you view yourself, your life will change as a byproduct of that. However, oftentimes when we talk about belief system, we don't talk enough about the opposite. What happens to an individual when they are given over to those dark and twisted fantasies, quote unquote, right? When an individual is given over to those hateful, those resent filled belief systems, when a person holds on to a fear based consciousness and how far it can truly go. And unfortunately, we now have a real life example of what happens when a section of our population is given over to the deepest and darkest fear. And so I wanted to share this segment that I recently saw, a clipping on Fox News, a conversation between Hannity and, out of all people, Dr. Drew, who I see has been getting quote unquote red pilled, right? Not in the quote unquote manosphere type of way, but has been awakened to the insanity of this woke mind virus. And, as an actual mental health professional, he has just a deep insight into what's been going on. And again, it's not just started after Trump's 2024 victory. We've been seeing this playing out already. It's just that exposed just how deep and dark this truly is when you have people literally calling for others' lives to be deleted and God forbid one of their children to be raped, and all kinds of heinous things that I've heard coming from the far left ideology, the far left extremist. And so that being said, I want to get into just this clip, and we're going to do a quick breakdown, only a little 8-minute video. So, and I'm going to give my 2 cents every now and then, but they do some real good work just covering bases here. By the way, folks, when I first moved here, I had kind of a woke ideology when I first moved to the States, and Fox News was like the devil. God forbid you ever go on Fox News. And as an adult, I'm like, oh, they're actually one of the few who are telling some of the truth, right? Most of the truth. If you go to CNN, MSNBC, etc., they're bought for. They're bought and paid for. So that being said, let's get into this.
All right, here with reaction, he is the chief patient officer at the wellness company. Dr. Drew Pinsky is with us. All right, so women are shaving their heads. They're pledging to either divorce their husbands or partners or don't have sex with them. They're stockpiling abortion pills. They're getting advice from the Washington Post on how to leave the country. Maybe they believe their own lies or the lies that were told during, and the hyperbole and the hype and the misinformation during the campaign, because there's no reason to leave. I will be the first person to stand up for their right to say stupid things if they want.
Yep. Well, I'm just glad to see that they moved from the blue talisman over their face and nose to a blue talisman bracelet on their wrist, because it's the same damn thing. And the whole headline here, Sean, is hysteria. Hysteria and delusion, and the source of this has been mainstream media. The American public has been...
I've been saying this, and it is not to be an exaggerator. I don't even think I'm doing enough of a justice to just how deep the propaganda is. Just how powerful propaganda is, first and foremost. Again, the ideas in which we feed ourselves are going to manifest and create our lives, because life is perception, right? How we perceive our experience is what our lives become. You see these videos where somebody pulls a prank on somebody, and it's like the visceral response that a person has in their body, right? It's as if the thing actually happened when really it was in their head. Like there's a prank where somebody ties, a fake snake to somebody's belt or whatever. And so the person finally realizes this quote unquote snake is behind them, and they start running and they start, basically hyperventilating, damn near having a heart attack, right? Because they have a belief that this is real. And that same phenomenon applies to all the psychology, where what you believe to be true is inherently true in the body, and you're going to have that somatic experience. And so again, this mass hysteria is a very real visceral experience, and it's being pushed by these propagandists who only have one intention, and that's to create a population who makes decisions off of fear as opposed to logic, because fearful people are easy to control.
Propagandized to the point that they literally become mentally ill. And the thing about delusionality is it can't be reasoned with. We have literally been through a stage of delusion that started with the first Trump presidency. It was put into absolute orbit with COVID. We now have the new HHS document that showed how the propaganda was done, how many hundreds of millions of dollars were spent, and vulnerable people were affected by this. And I would say the way to deal with your family members that are like this, A, compassionate firmness. Firmness, not rationality, not discourse, because argumentation will not work. They are delusional, but firmness. Because the reality is, this is like a cult. What do cults do? They separate.
I saw somebody in the comments that said, this is not like a cult. This is a cult. I did an entire video just breaking down, the symptoms or the characteristics of a cult and the characteristics of an individual who is given over to this woke mentality. And so, yeah, it is inherently a cult ideology. They're given over to it. And I've witnessed firsthand that you indeed cannot have a conversation, any sort of discourse or dialogue. But I love that he said, you must be firm. Most individuals want the maybe quote unquote compassion part, love. But it's like in most cases, the true love, the genuine love for that person is a healthy distance with that individual, or a healthy distance from that subject matter, which most of them can't distance themselves from. So you might just have to distance yourself relationally. And they're already doing that themselves, because that's what the cult ideology does. It says, if you don't agree with me, I cut you off, right? Simple as that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they'll use an infinite amount of rationale, right? Cults will say because there are infidels, there are outsiders, there are non-believers. And, for them, it's the same thing. You are an oppressor, you're an enemy, or, you believe in my rights being taken away. Whatever it is that they stamp on it as being the reasoning, it's the exact same ideology.
They separate families. They separate the cult member from the family. And this is how they get their way. We must fight against that.
All right, if you look at the 9 years and every major newspaper in the country, 3 broadcast channels in the country, every liberal news channel in the country, it was almost 24/7. I hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump's bad. He's evil. He's this. He's that.
Sure.
The amazing thing to me, the outcome of this election, all the celebrity endorsements didn't matter. All the musicians playing concerts, that didn't matter. All of the legacy media attacking Trump didn't matter. And the American people didn't listen to them. And I've been making the statement that legacy media in America is dead. Am I wrong? Because if they had any influence at all, this would not have been the blowout election it became.
As my old friend Adam Carolla said to me just yesterday, he said it's like they had a magic wand and the batteries worn out. They're shaking the wand, but the batteries aren't working anymore. And so the reality is, and this is the way I've been thinking about it, it's that this is old-timey stuff. These celebrities are celebrities from the 70s and 80s who used to have sway over our culture, and the people that are advocating these old-timey strategies. Look, Joe Rogan has the influence, not Julia Roberts, and people cannot get that into their heads. There are people, I was talking to a 40-year-old today, didn't really know who Johnny Carson was, didn't really understand who Valerie Bertinelli was, who was attacking me and Adam Carolla during the COVID epidemic. They'd never heard of these people, and if they had heard of them, they have no real relevance in their life. It's old-timey, old-fashioned. It is time to move on to the new era.
Yeah, I believe that this entire celebrity culture is having a drastic revamp. Hollywood is becoming more relevant by the minute. And yes, there is a part of technology that has to do with it, but it's their ideology, man. They've given themselves over to this elitist belief system that they're better than everybody else, therefore everybody else should listen to them. And we saw with, Scamala, aka Kamala, aka Kalala, whatever the hell you want to call that lady. That woman right there spent $1 billion of y'all's money. Y'all's who donated your millions, this is billions, this is dollars over. $1 billion+ raised, and they ended up $20 million in debt. Beyonce got $10 million to go up on stage and talk for 4 minutes, no performance, because that was definitely not enough for her to go and perform. You have Oprah, who put up an entire set, and Harpo, her foundation, got paid $1 million. I've heard she's probably upset because she only got $1 million, right? And she probably didn't know everybody else was getting the type of money they were getting. Even Lizzo got more money than Oprah. Oprah should be pissed about that one. Lizzo got like $3 million. Eminem got like $1.8 million, right? Meg Thee Stallion got $3 million to go and twerk it on stage. So, you know, yeah, they did all they could, and it still didn't work because the times, they are changing.
Late night is gone. So many things are over. Gutfeld is the king of late night. He still has sway, but this is a new way of doing things.
Well, I would argue in terms of late night comedy shows, I mean, the countdown to cancellation is on. I don't think those shows will survive. And that means Kimmel, that means Colbert, that means Fallon, because they're not funny, and Greg Gutfeld is funny. You got to laugh. You mentioned Julie.
And if you guys think they're just saying this because they're Fox and they're not those, this has been publicized already. The parent companies of MSNBC are saying they've been looking to sell MSNBC. CNN was on sale a while ago. Nobody would buy it, right? They're decreasing people's pay. They're about to have another mass layoff at CNN headquarters. So, you know, again, when you're a propagandist machine, instead of looking to tell people the truth, people don't trust you, especially when the truth is exposed. They said that everybody, you know, in the world is this leftist ideology. All of us are in this together. And then they saw that a majority of the country does not believe in that foolishness. Majority of the country cares about, God forbid, their economy. They care about the safety of their families. They care about having certain values and morality put into place. They value different things than Hollyweird values. Baby oil by the gallon.
Julia Roberts. It might have been the funniest political ad in some ways, but the saddest in another way, where she is telling people, narrating a video of a wife going into a voting booth. You don't have to tell that evil husband of yours that you're not voting for Trump. Your vote is private. Or George Clooney doing the same thing on the other end. You can still be a bro and act like you're voting for Trump. What is that?
I got to tell you, if that's actually, listen, if that was actually, I'm a mandated reporter in my state. If that is actually going on, I have to fill out a bunch of paperwork to report these people for domestic abuse. And that leads to domestic violence. Are they implying that all marriages in this country are just on the verge of domestic violence? Is that the implication? And by the way, I would say there are many more men keeping their mouth shut about what they were doing in the voting booth.
They're saying lie to your husband and lie to your best friends instead of are you that?
It's so sick.
But they lack pride in their candidate. They have to hide their vote and not admit what they really believe. First of all, is that a real marriage? Is that a real friendship? I don't think so. Is that a real friend?
And ironically enough, after the election, the people who've had to hide their opinions are those who voted for Trump. Because the left has become so unhinged. People have been getting threats on their life, threats on their children's lives, threats of grape. Yes, remove the G. It'll make sense for those who haven't caught on to that one yet. Threats on, on these people's entire safety. Like people threatening to say, I wish your house would whatever, be burnt down. I've heard people even say, like, I'm happy about the floods that are happening, the people in Florida, et cetera, because it was majoritively conservative, right-leaning. It was red. And it's like just these heinous, there's this entire Aquatofina movement where these, crazy feminists are looking to poison men. It's incredible. And they get away with it because unfortunately they've been allowed to get away with it. And we've not said anything much about it. We've kind of just let them, continue on their cuckoo delusions, but it's gone too far. And the only way it stops is for us to continue to speak truth to power. So yeah, I just had to address that part, which is, it's like they make it like, oh, the other side is such a threat, when really they're the ones who have this truly fascistic way of being. They're master manipulators. They are, like covert narcissists. And so they will project exactly what they are onto everybody else in order to hide their hand. They throw the rock and, and cry victim, cry wolf.
Chip, I don't think so.
We have a saying in my field is you're as sick as your secrets. How about the fact that we couldn't express ourselves? I don't know if you experienced this, but I noticed that after the election, when the American people made a pretty substantial statement, you kind of felt like speech was back. Like you could start to talk, you could have an opinion, and you could have some affect with that opinion. Sunny Houston, who I've had nothing but affection for whenever I've dealt with her, she's talking about a moral issue as it pertains to somebody voting for somebody. exactly what is the moral issue? What is she talking about? We are throwing things around. Where's the morality? Look, Adam Smith was a moral philosopher. How would he interpret exactly what the moral issue is for going in and issuing a vote? Well, it's wild.
Thanksgiving dinner. Wham, throw the turkey leg, throw the mashed potatoes. Let me ask you one last thing.
No, don't. Either stay quiet or just be really firm and direct and be compassionate and feel sorry for people that are in a delusional state.
I'm not advocating. I'm joking. All right, so when you tell people like Kamala Harris did, and she lies to old people, seniors, and says he's going to take away your Social Security and Medicare, and it's complete.
Again, these people will say anything. A liar will lie. It's like, it's still something I try to wrap my head around, is to say, like, damn, people would just lie, like outright, would just lie to lie. Yeah, a liar will lie, and a liar is a thief. A person who has no true moral compass does not have any limitations on how far they will take something in order to fulfill their agenda. It's really that simple. And so that's what we see with these sorts of individuals who are given over to this quote unquote reprobate mind, right? This kind of sick, twisted ideology is that, I'll do anything in order to fulfill my belief system. And so they would lie, they would steal, they would cheat, they would do anything necessary. And so throughout the entire campaign, they lied and lied and lied. Even though the evidence is out there, the proof is out there that they were lying, they would still do it regardless, because they knew there were enough people who wanted to believe the lie, enough people with enough hatred in their heart, enough people who are susceptible enough to buy into anything that would, allow them to be in a state of hatred. And so these are the facts. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go refill this water, give myself some breakfast, and get into the rest of my day. But much love. Till the next time. Peace.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a